Who knows what is out there in the future, but one thing is for sure, for those of us who love carving into the earth and use our senses to generate speed from the terrain and, well, I guess avoid trees, I hope that a set of wheels and handlebars and suspension will still be the key parts of an e-mountain bike. But hey, who knows? The truth is, gauging where things are going to be is pretty much impossible. Reckoning the direction of eMTB, wow, that's pretty tricky due to the speed of changes currently taking place. But we're going to cover off a few things and also have a chat with some of the very key players in the e-mountain bike industry. Where do they see things going? In the future, whether it be 5, 10 or 20 years time, we still want to be able to ride mountain bikes, don't we? We don't want to be riding these machines that drive themselves.
Same here. I mean, we don't, and I keep repeating what I said over the last couple of years, we don't want to create game consoles. Like, we don't want to move mountain biking in the basement or in the living room and just bike in front of a TV or something. The core of mountain biking, it's just disconnecting yourself, going outside with friends, riding technical trails. There's a fitness aspect, there's a technical aspect, there's certain challenges you achieve, and it's just the fun with riding with buddies on good trails. This must not change. If we change this, then we screw up.
And we will see more e-systems, more bikes, which are way better and in a wider way adjustable for riders' needs. And in terms of software design, connectivity, connection towards whatever device, I think here we are just in front of the next generation pretty soon. Then looking 15 years out, I think everything will be connected. But I think the most important point here is that you can be also disconnected still, and your bike is still running. And at the end, it's all about bike riding.
The bikes of next year and the year after are already old news in many people's minds. Indeed, some will already have left the designer screens and are working their way onto the production line. What's going to happen in the next couple of years, do you think? I mean, it doesn't take much imagination, does it really?
Even in 2015, when we launched Levo, not only we had the full-on integrated everything, on the launch date, we had smart control. Already. You turn it on and you just say, I want to ride for 2 hours, and this thing does its job for 2 hours. I hope in 10 years from now, we have smart control 7.0 or maybe 7.3. And actually, I know we will, because to me, route planning, energy consumption planning, etc., this is all something that has a significant impact on how people use the bike. Because nobody needs 1,500 watt hours in the down tube. People just want to ride for 3 to 4 hours. And it doesn't matter if you go uphill with 11 or 12 kilometers an hour. It doesn't matter at all. All you want to do, you want to ride for 3-4 hours. You want to have a decent amount of assist, and you don't want to run out of juice. Pair that with a really fun mountain bike that doesn't fail, that always functions, and pair that with some smartness that gets you home. That's pretty badass.
But if the bikes of the immediate future already exist, what about a bit further into the future, into the unknown?
Well, first of all, I don't know how the bike looks like in 10 years. And I'm not going to tell you what we're working on right now.
You know what? I really hope we'll still have to actually ride our bikes. And we'll still have that emotional link, the huffing and puffing, the shouting and the swearing. True, the missed gears and the snap chains and maybe the running of battery might not still be with us. But hopefully we'll still be able to raise our heart rates, because after all, if we haven't got that, then battery technology or motor weight or torque will actually count for nothing.
A very sensitive topic is for the very future. What is the motor power we give to the riders? Or is it? I mean, we push hard for the wave of SL motors, but I'm very nervous about overpowering machines, where you just go extensive over the power of today's Bosch, Yamaha, Levo, whatever you name them. Or right now with the trail access, etc., we have a luxury situation, and we don't want to ruin that. And that is a very, very fine line. And also, I think from a riding standpoint, we don't want to create game consoles, but also we don't want to create a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I think there is a sweet spot in between, and we're pretty darn close to that sweet spot right now. And there's nuances left and right. That's okay. It's rider preference. But there's boundaries, and I really hope that we don't go through the boundaries.
So, what's your thoughts in general then in, 10, 15 years time, where, what things do you think will change?
I think everything. Like out in 20 years or 15 years, everything will change. I think we are not at the end with geometries, kinematics, e-systems for sure not, battery development. Here, I think we can benefit from automotive also. Consumer electronics is in it since decades. Automotive guys are like heavily working on it. I think here we can really benefit. But also on the e-systems, some of the e-systems we have today and announce them to customers, the competitors of ours are calling it compact or light assist bikes, but you can clearly hear that there still is an e-machine in those bikes. And I think out in 15 or 20 years, you will not recognize that if it's an e-bike or a regular bike. Maybe there's only one bike. And it's e-bikes, how we call them today, are not any longer recognized as e-bikes. And maybe there's also not really a differentiation between those two categories.
I mentioned earlier, I'm 15 years now at Specialized. I'm more excited than ever before about the opportunities and the tools and the people and the stuff that we're working on. I couldn't think of any better job right now. We can do better, and that motivates me. This is a challenge, and challenge accepted. There are things we can do. Will that take a year or 10 years? I don't know.
So as you can tell, it's not just me and probably you guys that are super excited. It's Jan as well. But most key people even don't actually know. Even the man behind the Levo is actually clueless. Or is he? If you think about in the past 15 years, the enduro mountain bike has probably gone from 150 mil to 170 mil travel, but the weight difference has only, I think the weight difference has only been like a kilo or so, or 1 to 2 kilos lighter than they were 10 to 15 years ago. But I think with an e-mountain bike, surely the biggest difference in 10 or 20 years time is definitely the battery, do you think?
We will see, hopefully, unless we really fail, a couple more significant changes to bikes that we can be proud of. There's still a lot of things that, yes, motors will, first of all, in the motor power category, we now have 2 power category with the low power motor and the full power motor. It's going to be really exciting of how they developed. Is it a 1-to-1? Is one taking off? Is the other one? We have no idea. I would hope it's 50-50. That would be fun. There is, in terms of battery and range, there is certainly way more digital tools coming in terms of better planning, because a lot of the range anxiety comes from not you don't have enough power, it's like you don't know how to use the right modes to get you home.
More efficiency and more in general, and that is, I think, the most important point for me and for us, more natural ride feeling, and allow the riders, as I said earlier, to concentrate on the trails and the nature out there, and not give them the feeling that they're just having an e-bike from 2015 with a noisy motor and a big battery mounted on it.
I think huge part of the success of the current e-bike products is due to the fact that they are pedal assist. If those bikes would be just throttle bikes, we wouldn't have that success. That immediate smile on the face that somebody has jumping on a bike for the first time, that is due to the fact that we just amplify his own power. If they would have a throttle, they wouldn't have that smile. They would expect, okay, it's pretty easy. You twist the throttle and it goes. But the fact that you control with your legs what this thing does, 1-to-1 without a delay, that's not going to go away. I mean, if anything, that's our focus. That natural ride feeling is so important. It needs to remain a bike, and that's one of our main focus also for the future. How do we make the bike even more natural? It's that curve we're reaching. I don't want to say a plateau, but it gets more and more difficult year after year. But if you just ask, like, okay, in a couple of years from now, how do motors feel? I would say even more natural than today.
There's currently a very big difference between the software of all the different motor manufacturers. Do you think we're still at the early stages of people's understanding of that natural ride feel which you're talking about?
Something super important. I think there are categories 15 years out where like system control or like everything what we learned over the last decades in automotive. So electronical helpers, they will play a major role. But I think for those like real eMTBs, there's still the possibility that you can turn them off and have a real bike ride feeling. Something similar to what we see also in automotive. I think when we look at Porsche, those GT series cars, you can disable all those functions and go on a race circuit and enjoy your car.
We have many riders in the office. We ride a lot and we develop the product on the trail. Like, we go out riding every single day and we don't stop unless we're done. The bridge that we do very well is bridging ride feeling to software engineers. There's a lot of companies have really good software engineers. A lot of companies have really good riders, but connecting both, they speak different languages. They don't understand each other. So finding out of how do you actually put what does ride feeling mean into something meaningful, so a software motor programmer can actually take it and implement that in the code so it feels different. That's part of our recipe that we have learned over the years. We actually, with you, we've written up the so-called zigzag trail. We've done some video sections there. And that trail, there are sections on the trail where you can totally tell this motor is good, this isn't good. And there is no perfect motor yet.
Wow, some interesting thoughts there from Jan and Philip. But even looking over the fence into next year, well, actually, all I can see is some tin cans left for some villains. But you know that there's going to be some larger capacity batteries, there are going to be lighter bikes. I mean, there's going to be some super exciting things. But into the future, into 10, 20 years hence, who knows what's going to happen? Let's know your thoughts. Where do you think e-mountain biking will be in a decade's time?